y'all. We are back for another episode of Raw with a Purpose. I am Titania Harris, psychotherapist, author, speaker, CEO of TMH Behavioral Services, and founder of TMH Man Cave.
Hey, I'm Latasha Davis, Vice President of TMH Behavioral Services, couple relationship family expert.
Yes. How you going today, Tasha? See, I said, how you doing? I ain't said, how you feeling? What is so funny? Oh my God. I think it's because, people don't normally ask that and mean it. I honestly mean it. Because listen,
What do you?
I do. It's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on.
That's why I'm checking in. You do a lot. So,
I
look
do
my
a lot.
bestie.
I do a lot. I do a lot. We do a lot.
Yes.
I am doing.
Okay.
Maintaining.
All right.
How are you doing and feeling?
Thank you for asking. I'm hanging in there, but I'm happy to be here. This, I love what we do. Let's get right into it.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about SMAD.
SMAD. Whatever does it mean?
I know before we talked about SAD, but I want to talk about SMAD, social media anxiety disorder, right? And so we know that social media is a big part of our lives. For some of us, it consumes us. And so we want to talk about, what happens when it becomes too much. And so social media anxiety disorder is not just this, this need or this compulsiveness to check your notifications, check your comments, and share or spend I don't want to say insane amount of time, but an unhealthy amount of time on social media. But it's also when you are looking for others to share your posts, share your comments, like your comments, excessively, or be obsessed about that. I want to get into that. I don't think, we talk enough about it, and we want to kind of get into where it comes from, how do we combat it, and, how to get through it. Some tips. So let's get right to it.
Mad. So we think about, I guess we would just have to talk about what topics we wanted to talk about. And I know social media is just really big right now.
Yeah,
it's been big for a long time. And I know even COVID, we use social media a lot to get through that traumatic time for us as well. But I think we've noticed that it just really, like you said, consumed us.
It has.
It definitely has consumed. It's a part of living now. Yeah. It's a very big part of living.
It's almost like when people find out you're not on social media, it's like, whoa. Yeah. I was literally telling my assistant on the way here, prior to owning my business, I wasn't on social media. Remember, I was off of social media and sort of felt like, not that I was forced to be on it, but I had an obligation to be on it because of the type of work that I do, because I may be clear, if I didn't, I wouldn't be on there. And I think I sometimes suffer from social media anxiety.
Yeah, I would say we both. I think everybody have some, even if it's not a disorder, I think we all have symptoms of it.
Yep, I definitely do. And it's even doing this podcast, sometimes I'm like, are people going to like it? Do they watch it? Do they see it? And so understanding how to just...
And we're always thinking about how to continue to make sure we're putting out content that people want to enjoy.
That's part of the anxiety.
So... We definitely have that. So I was like, and then I think just thinking about how this developed, right? What do we think happened, and why is this being such a big phenomenon and taking over our lives right now?
I think part of it is a lot of times people get caught up in comparison, and so when you start scrolling and you may be in a certain place in your life where you're not happy, or you're not, content on where you're at in your journey, you see other people, right? And one of the things I like to tell clients who suffer from some form of anxiety related to social media, and let's be clear, it don't necessarily have to be SMAD. You can just have some anxiety related symptoms related to social media.
Right.
I will tell clients, what you have to understand with a lot of people, they're posting their highlights. Lots of folks are not sharing what's behind the scenes. So here you are, comparing yourself to this person who has A, B, and C when really they're struggling. Or even people comparing themselves to the way people look. There's filters. Yeah. People can change. I'll just learn this. People can change their body parts and make them.
I know. I had to ask you about this person. What happened with this person, girl?
So understanding that a lot of times that what you're feeling that anxiety about doesn't even exist. Talking more about that. And I also want to get into how it affects teens, because a lot of teenagers and youth I think suffer from social media anxiety too because of that same thing.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think too, it's like before, back in the day, social media wasn't a big thing. So I think it was just like an internal thing for us to just compare ourselves to what we see visibly. Like if you have the best clothes or if this person had the different family. So it's like you had that type of, but now it's like so big into the social media where I think now it's not just what we see, just like it's out there. So now we really have something to compare ourselves to of what we look like or what that person has. And like you said, usually it's the highlights. We don't, and then it is always some people, and then a lot of people tell everything like a diary. And so I think it's always been a discussion. I know I'm like, everybody put everything on social media. They put everything. And I said, and then some people just put some things that they feel is okay to share. And I think we also talk about, here's something else I want to talk about. And that's still my mind, but you probably can.
No, it's okay. No, I think what you're saying is correct. Like some people share everything. And that's another layer. I think that's part of the anxiety and also the need to be validated. So I think people get caught up in that, seeking that validation. That's why they post, right? I also think some folks are lonely, right? And again, we're not knocking people who do it. We just want to highlight like how unhealthy it can be at times. I'm a very private person. I mean, you can make all types of assumptions about my life based on what you see on social media. And I don't worry about that, because I keep things kind of close to the heart. But I do that to protect myself and my mental health. But I think oftentimes people get caught up in what they see and what the fantasy is and not what's real. Like people, I say this all the time, people Facebook their problems and not face them, And also I think I don't want to say it can be therapeutic, but I think for some people it can be therapeutic
in what they say. I feel like they put it in like a journal. Sometimes I feel that's another way people journal, and people like they put everything out there. And I said I think some people that's the way they have a social media journal. It's their way of getting things out and just saying this is how they feel, and that's their therapeutic way of dealing with it. But then it's also, like you said, it's people always assuming or thinking about, even for us, like what, our lives and how we do things. Like you said, you're very private. I may be a more picture person. I'm very private in dating as well.
Yeah.
I might post some body parts.
You are the body part queen.
I'm a body part queen. You ain't gonna never see no face, no case. Because that does bother you. Because if someone said, oh yeah, so-and-so was dating him, I don't care about that. So, but it would bother me. It's like, okay, now is this something it get in your head? Is it something I need to know, or is it something he's not telling me? So it's like I'd rather find out whatever happens in the dark is gonna happen in the light. Yeah. So I naturally like to find things out, and I think it's just like you said, and that's what celebrities do. You got to protect that piece of you. So it's like, so people don't know if I'm single or don't know if I'm dating or exclusively dating or whatever the case may be. But it's really important for me because I'm very big about relationships. Yeah. So if I'm going to do it, I'm going to be 100% in. So if it's not that, I'm not going to post anything. Like we laugh about it all the time. So social media won't know nothing until we married and had a baby.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll mess up a wet dream.
But I do want to say this. I don't see anything wrong. Well, here's the thing. People can do what makes them happy. I'm very big on self-determination and whatever makes you feel good. But here's where it becomes unhealthy, and I want folks to understand. When it affects your mood, right? When you are posting your journal or sharing your life story, whatever you're doing on social media, and you're constantly checking to see if people liked it or people comforted you doing, or by liking it or by sharing it or whatever the case may be. To me, that's when it's unhealthy, right? But if it doesn't affect your mood and that's just what you want to do, then I think it's okay. I just want folks to understand that like it can be unhealthy based on like how often you're checking, right? Maybe how many times you have to edit it. You know what I mean? Like when you post something, you got to re-edit it because you're worried about how people will respond. And again, I can be very transparent because of the nature of my work. When I post certain things, I have to, in my mind, I'm like, well, am I singling people out? Is this too personal? But not to check myself and go, no, just do it. Like it's fine. But it's when it's a constant thing for you. I think that's when it becomes an issue. Yeah,
and I think too, like you said, the type of work we do. So I'm very being like, I don't care. This is me. This is who I am. But I do question myself. Like, oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't put that baby suit picture up there. Like, maybe I shouldn't put that certain post.
Like you tell me.
But I tell you that. But then I still question myself sometimes too, and it be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. said, you know what, I don't care. This is me. You know, this is who I am. I always say I'm who I've been umpteen years.
Yeah.
And I know how to balance that and try to do a good way of balancing that. So I do question that. And then I also was thinking about something. I don't know why I'm just losing all my thoughts today.
It's okay.
But
I think, human.
Girl,
I know you think you're super shero, but you're human.
No, I'm human because I be forgetting. That's why I have to write stuff down.
No, it's okay.
So, but I just think it's important that, you know, we understand. No, I think we was talking about how to develop it. We was going to go back to that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important for us to be just cognitive. That's what I was thinking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got it now. I was like, we had a conversation about how people on social media will give you like 20 likes on something really positive, but they'll give you like 1,000 likes on some type of naked or drama or whatever that is. They'll give you comments. They want to know. They want to like.
That is. Why do you think the positive things that people post, like if, you know, somebody posts like, oh, my son made the honor roll, or I'm having this event, versus posting a picture of yourself in a bathing suit or whatever.
And then I think it's levels to the happiness.
Yes.
I think it's levels to it. So, like you said, it can be two good things happening, but it's something weird about like, oh, someone made, my kid having a hard time and they finally made the honor roll, versus, oh, I'm having a baby.
Yep.
And it's like you're gonna get two different responses of like, shares, comments. I don't know why that is.
I think people are first visual people. So any picture that you post will always, I think, draw more attention in terms of, you know, the likes. But I think when you are writing, especially if it's not traumatic or full of drama, people don't read, right? So I think that's another reason. Like people don't want to read long passages.
But you're right, because even those have you ever seen those the copy and paste messages? Yes. And it'll be something so crazy. You start reading it and they be like, oh, this didn't really happen to me. And people like, and you'll see a list of comments like, oh man, I thought, it's like, wow, we really are like really absorbed by stuff like this. Yeah. It's interesting to see how the way our mind works and how we just gravitate. But I think too, it's like, it's another form of like back in the day when we used to look at Jerry Springer. It's like an updated Jerry Springer show on social media. Because everybody used to run home and look at Jerry Springer. Yeah. It was just that type of show that it just consumed your mind. Now we just have our own Jerry Springer shows on social media. And they really drive to that. I don't know.
I will say this. I think social media can be I think it's a definitely good tool for people to use, especially if you own a business. Yeah. And I think it can be positive for people. Like you get, I think some of the positive effects that you talk to people that you only want to talk to, right? You can find old friends. A lot of folks have found family members. Yes. You know, that's how I
connect for jobs.
You know, that's how I got in contact with my two younger brothers. That's how we reconnected. Social media. But I think the flip side of that is, I think it's also, how can I say this? And I just lost my train of thought. I think it also has disconnected us in a way, right? Like there's not enough connection with others, right? We know each other through social media, but like that real connection, when we're out with friends, people are checking their Instagram, their Facebook, instead of being connected. I think that's where it comes in at, right? Where it affects us in that way. Yeah,
definitely.
So how do we get past it? What are some tips we have? Like,
I know some people do a fast. Some people do like a media fast. I know that helps a lot of people like get back grounded, back to their own self, because
I wish I could do one.
Well, you do it sometimes.
I do, but I mean like unplug all the way. Yeah, you're right. I do.
You do it sometimes. Like I've just got to unplug because it just be too much. So I definitely think just unplugging, like, in things that's just toxic to your mental health, blocking that.
Yeah, thinking about your triggers. Yeah. So if it's someone, like for example, if it's someone that you may feel envious or jealous of, unblock them. I mean, block them. Like, don't follow them. If they elicit some feelings, and it's not their fault, like, it's just something on your journey, I would say don't follow them. Or if it's a page that triggers you, unfollow that page. And I think the best thing to do is unplug. Unplug and ask yourself, like, what's happening for me? What's real for me, right? And remind yourself of the positive things that's happening in your life. Right. And also, remind yourself that this may not be the truth.
Right.
This may just be a fantasy, right?
Be what people want to show you.
Exactly. People oftentimes just show you what they want to show you, and like I said, not what's happening behind the scenes.
And that's and I don't want to leave it on this, but just that's the thing too. Kind of talking about the suicide. You know, people be like, I didn't know because they was so on social media like a week ago. They was so happy they was talking about this. They talking about their kids and their family. And like you said, Tani, people don't really know what's going on the inside, but that's kind of what it's part of like that. I want to say like social media depression.
Most people are wearing a mask.
Yes.
Most people are wearing a mask, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is real. Yeah. And and before we wrap up, that's what I want to get into too with the teens. There's a lot of teen bullying that leads to suicide, right? And which is tough. You know, I often hear people say like, you know, these teens don't have mental toughness. And that may be true, but that's because they're comparing too, right? So if adults are struggling, of course, a young 12, 13-year-old mind is struggling with the scrolling and seeing what other people have going on. I think that's an issue too, and something we need to continue to talk about it and get through. And I would just encourage people, like you said, to unplug, take a break from social media.
Seek support.
You have to seek support. Remind yourself of who you are. Journaling, right? And spending more time with people who make you feel good
into you in a positive way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this was a somewhat heavy episode, but I'm glad that we were able to talk about SMAD, right? And some of the symptoms and how to combat it. And anything you want to add before we wrap up and get out of here?
No, don't get consumed by social media. You are okay. You are enough.
That's right.
We are not perfect.
Unless y'all just consume with RWAP with a purpose, then y'all can go
all day. Because we healthy. We are not toxic, okay? We are not toxic people. So, but just take care of yourself.
Yep. And that's a wrap, y'all. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all social media, Raw with the Purpose. You can follow me at Titania Harris, TMH Man Cave, and of course TMH Behavioral Services.
And you can follow me on IG, LatashaD29, rawwithpurpose.com. And if you have any feedback, support, or any questions, please remember to email us, rawwithpurpose@gmail.com.
See y'all later.
Thank you. Bye.